Come on, keep it going for all the comedians tonight. Come on. I'm really quiet, really fast. So there's this scary movie coming out tomorrow called Bumblebee about a Transformer. It's not a horror movie, it's just scary they keep making Transformers movies. And look, don't get me wrong, right? I enjoyed the first one well enough. My inner child was happy to see these characters I knew and loved as a kid up on the big screen, but I also knew it was shitty. Like, it's kind of like when you leave a seafood buffet that's kind of sketchy. You know, like, you're happy and you're full, but you also kind of want to throw up a little bit. Same exact thing. And when that happens, you call it a win and you move on. You don't go back 5 more goddamn times. That's how you get dysentery and Sharknadoes. And the thing is, now they're getting into, that's Bumblebee right there. Now they're getting into Bumblebee's origin, right? But really, how much story is there left to tell? It's a robot that turns into a car. That's his whole fucking character arc. That's it. Spoiler, he also turns back into a robot. I'm sorry if I ruined that for anyone. I want to be so mad when I go see that movie. Speaking of disasters, I'm getting divorced. I like to keep the jokes light and fun. But really, it's not as bad as you think. I actually highly recommend it to anyone who hates having money or friends. We actually went to court a month ago today. So as of right now, we are legally separated, which is the exact same thing as divorce, except we can still share a Hulu account. Because look, it's one thing to acknowledge that the foundation of our marriage has crumbled and withered away, and we no longer love one another and need to move on in our own separate lives and grow as individuals, but also Handmaid's Tale's coming back, so let's not be ridiculous. Which, just as a side note, I kind of worry about the popularity of Handmaid's Tale every now and again, you know? Like, I know we all like it because it's interesting and it's really great storytelling and it's kind of creepy and clever, right? But I feel like some people watch it like a how-to video, you know? Like, let's just call it what it is. Handmaid's Tale is alt-right porn. But the good thing is, I think we still have a chance to kind of take it back and subvert it. So I'm going to make an actual porn version called The Handjob's Tale. It's going to be a whole series. The first episode is called Under His Brown Eye. I think it's going to be pretty big. But so the weird thing about getting divorced is dating. Like, even just the concept of dating is so hard to wrap my head around, you know? I mean, like, we were married for almost 14 years and together for a few years before that, so really the last time I was dating, internet dating was barely a thing. Right, thank you. And so back then, we had to rely on lying about ourselves in person, which is way fucking harder. No, I'm 5'11". Yeah, no, it's the lighting in here makes me look short. It's the shadows. You know how they say that the camera adds 10 pounds? Well, bar lighting takes off 7 inches. So don't look down or I'll be negative. So where was it you said you modeled? But you know what? We made it work. We figured it out. I mean, really, even if you think about it, like the old school flasher guys, like the guys with the trench coats, that's really just a pre-internet dick pic. Put the log in analog. Those men were visionaries. Creepy, perverted visionaries. My favorite thing about internet dating and the apps is the names, right? The names are just fucking amazing. Like, okay, Match.com, pretty straightforward. Hey, we're gonna match you with someone. Now fuck off. Okay, fine. But by far my favorite is OkCupid. Holy shit, that name, you guys. Like, it's not Awesome Cupid or even Pretty Good Cupid, it's just OkCupid. That is some brutal honesty. Because they're basically telling you, hey, we're gonna match you with someone, but it is not gonna be good. It's not. Like, it's not gonna be super bad either, but, you know, maybe don't get your hopes up. And that's basically their tagline. OkCupid, maybe don't get your hopes up. But it works, right? It works because they are crushing it. So I've decided I want to get in on this action. So I'm going to develop my own app. It's called I Guess So. You sign up, give us your info, we send you one match, and you can't swipe left or right or anything. There's just a single button that says, fine. It's gonna be big. You'll see a couple and be like, oh, are you guys dating? I guess so. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that. I have an amazing, lovely, beautiful girlfriend. I did the beginning of this set, so we'll see how the night goes. Speaking of dick pics, I have to admit that I find dick pics fascinating. Just the idea of them is kind of amazing to me. Because dick pics have been around surely as long as the camera. Right? I'm sure the day after the camera was invented, some chick got a grainy black and white photo of a dick, frowning, a little derby on it, maybe a monocle right in the middle. And you know what? Probably even before that, I'm sure Victorian chicks were opening their mail and getting like dick silhouettes in ornate frames. I'm sure ancient Egyptian chicks were getting hieroglyph dicks. But in the thousands of years of cockmail and the hundreds of thousands of dick pics sent, it has worked 0 times. It has never worked, I guarantee it. And I don't mean if you're already in a relationship and you're like sharing sexy pics. No, I mean when that's your opening gambit, when you send someone a picture of your dick and they're supposed to go, ooh, I want that inside me. Yeah, that has never fucking happened. And it's never going to. Now, I'll admit, I send the occasional dick pic, but I do it for a different reason. I do it when people are interested in me and I'm not interested back, right? Aha, you're catching on. Because then it's like, hey baby, you down to fuck? Yeah girl, you want some of this? Never mind. We did it again, little guy. But here's the thing, if you're confused at all, man, if you're wondering why dick pics never work, allow me to illuminate that for you. It's because this is a disaster. This is no good. Dicks and balls are weird looking and unattractive, okay? Now, women, you have curves and your lady bits look like a blooming flower, right? This looks like the bottom of a butcher's garbage can. Just the bits and pieces that nobody wants anything to do with. And that's why, men, if you're with someone who is generous enough, who is giving enough, dare I say brave enough, to go down on you, to put this hot mess where their food goes, at the very least, you owe them a thank you card. And I'm talking handwritten, don't you hallmark that shit, okay? You gotta mean it. As a matter of fact, I would go one step further. I think every man should have on his nightstand a stack of consolation cards. You know, like condolences. So that way, mid-blowjob, you can hand someone a card that says, I'm sorry for what you're going through. Just to show you care. You know? Maybe throw in like a $5 Starbucks gift card so afterwards they can get the taste of your stupid dick out of their mouths. Maybe just an after dick mint? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Please make after dick mints. Please.
And I'll share the recipe. So, I mean, the point I'm making here is dicks and balls are gross. I don't know if you guys got that. Which, by the way, is also why I think it should be illegal for bathroom designers to put a mirror across from the shower, because I don't want to see that shit, right? Especially not first thing in the morning. Like, I just got up, I'm trying to get ready for work, and it's like, oh, come on! I just woke up, I haven't even had breakfast yet, and now I don't want to. Which, speaking of, my dog, this is a weird segue, but bear with me.
Yeah.
When I walk upstairs at my house, my dog will run past me, and then she'll jump on the bed. And I think it's just because she thinks maybe it's nap time, or maybe it's lay in bed and binge 9 straight seasons of The Office time, whatever, it doesn't matter. But if I go take a shower, she'll jump off the bed and she'll hide underneath. And I think there's a couple of reasons for it. I think part of it is just if there's someone bathing in the nearby vicinity, she wants to be as removed from that equation as possible. But she's also just a weird dog and she likes to hide under the bed and bring toys and shit there. But here's the problem. What that means is if I'm standing in my bedroom and I unzip my pants, the dog hides. That's gonna make for some awkward fucking conversations, okay? How do you explain that to someone? Do you lean into it and say, yeah, bitch, you better run? I mean, that's not gonna work either. So I'm looking forward to explaining that to the cops someday. So, a few years ago, I lived in Vegas. And when I lived in Vegas, one of my best friends out there was this super cute Korean chick. And that might seem like a weird thing to mention, but it's important to the story. So one day I'm over at her house and we're playing board games. And she has a bunch of friends over. And because she's a cute Asian girl, all of her friends are cute Asian girls because that's just how it works for some weird reason. I think it's a law. Maybe the Magna Carta or something. So there I am, I'm playing board games with a bunch of cute Asian girls, and it's a very specific fetish, but one I endorse. And we're playing Cards Against Humanity, right? And as we're playing, it falls to me to explain some of the cards. I'm sure most of you have played Cards Against Humanity. Some of the cards are just weird phrasing or kind of like big obscure words. So it's my job to explain them, which is going fine for most of the evening. Until we get to one particular card. Pixelated Bukkake. So there I am, holding this card, about to explain it to this group of young Asian girls. And a couple of them knew what it was, so they were just waiting for the show to start. But the rest of them are just waiting patiently, staring at me with this innocent naivete, like I'm going to explain that Bukkake is some kind of exotic bird. Now, for those of you pretending to not know, Bukkake is a Japanese sexual fetish, in which case several men will stand around a girl and they will ejaculate onto her face, like you do. It's, arguably the third most important contribution Japan has made to society after Sailor Moon and green tea Kit Kats. So there I am, I'm trying to explain Bukkake to this group of young Asian girls, and I'm dancing around it like a goddamn ballerina, right? I'm using euphemisms and metaphors, and they are just not putting two and two together, which is ironic. And so I give up, right? And I just go the other direction entirely, and I start explaining Bukkake in vivid detail, right? I'm using hand motions, I'm miming it, I'm using sound effects, I'm explaining the subtleties in the translation. Right? I'm explaining the theoretical origin of Bukkake, right? Where these feudal Japan villages would punish the women off in caves. And everyone's laughing their ass off because I have turned this into a one-man vaudeville act, right? Super funny, everyone's having a great time. Rest of the night goes swimmingly, so to speak. Now fast forward 6 months, and I haven't seen this group of girls since, but now we're all meeting up, and we're all gonna go out to a movie and get some dinner. We're meeting at the mall, at a food court. So I show up and the girls are already there. And I'm walking up and I'm about 30 yards away when they see me coming. I'll leave that one. Now, when they see me, they knew I was joining them, but in that moment, they really realized and remembered who I was. Now, in this moment of recognition, moments before, this food court was super loud, right? Packed with people, but in this moment, suddenly it gets super quiet. Right? One of those weird universal coincidences where it just happens to be between songs, and conversations are just wrapping up, and babies stop crying. So as this food court gets super quiet, one of the girls stands up and says, "The Bukkake guy!" I shit you not, it fucking echoed. Bukkake guy. People turn to face me, glasses shatter, I think a record scratched on a turntable somewhere. Mothers are covering their children's ears. And how do I react? How do I react in this moment, having been outed as Bukkake guy? I go, yeah! That's what I fucking did. Finger guns and all. Bukkake guy strolling through the food court with a couple of 6-shooters. So I moved back here. I'm not saying that's why, but I'm not saying that's not why. So it's football season, and I know some of you are ready to glaze over, but it's okay. Even if you don't like football, this is going to be important for you to hear. Because I bet maybe someone you're dating likes football, or someone in your family likes football, and if they do, they're probably into fantasy football, which means even if you don't like football, you're stuck watching a fantasy segment every now and again, or listening to fantasy podcast, or maybe you're just stuck in a conversation about fantasy football and you're begging for sweet, sweet death. Well, I'm going to help you out right now. I'm going to give you a tip to get you through those moments. Because you see, I love fantasy football, and I've played it forever, but I've always found the name to be hilarious because it's funny as shit. Fantasy football, right? That's funny. Now, when I was younger, I would picture like orcs and elves and stuff playing football. That was kind of funny, but as I got older, one day I thought of it more like sexual fantasy football. And once I got that idea in my head, it never stopped being funny, and it's made every season funny because ESPN would announce their fantasy expert, and I was expecting a guy to walk out with a ball gag and a riding crop. And that tip is going to help you get through these moments, but I'm going to prove my point right now. Okay, here are 5 headlines just from this fantasy season that made me laugh. Right, about to blow your mind. Fantasy tips for when you're always on the bottom. Flexing a tight end. Safety first, people. What to do with the stud tied up on your bench. That one's hyper specific. Scoring with deep sleepers. That one's hilarious and creepy. And the last one, my personal favorite, straight from ESPN.com, ESPN's 2018 Fantasy Handcuff Rankings. Because if you're going to use fantasy handcuffs, you want to make sure they're vetted by a major sports news network. More like ES&M, am I right, everybody? Yeah. It's okay, that's a masochism joke. It's supposed to hurt. Now, obviously, even bigger than football, it's Christmas. Holy shit, 5 days. Wow. Isn't that amazing? God, I fucking hate Christmas so much. Oh, it's the worst. Oh. I mean, look, I like exchanging gifts, and I like hanging out with family and getting super drunk. I mean, I'm really good at all of that, but I just hate the music, and I hate all the cheesy decorations, you know? And the thing is, I have kids, and Christmas is super weird the way we present it to kids. And it's not just Christmas, it's every holiday. I mean, for instance, we just got through Halloween not that long ago, okay? And Halloween is the holiday where you tell kids, hey look, don't ever take candy from strangers, except this one night where I want you to take as much candy as you can from as many strangers as possible. Also, please go directly to the stranger's house to make sure it's not safe. Wait. Put on this borderline fetish outfit first. There you go. See you in a few hours, if I ever see you again.
Oh, God.
That's what Halloween is. It's dressing your kid up in cosplay and sending them out into the night to visit strangers. Halloween is Grubhub for pedophiles.
No.
And now, not even 2 months later, we're telling kids kind of the same thing. We're saying, look, also, don't ever take presents from strangers unless they break into your house in the middle of the night when you're sleeping, then it's fine. Oh, but if you hear them, don't open your eyes or tell anyone because they've been watching you and you will be punished. But don't worry, it's not a real stranger. It's that weird old man whose lap you sat on at the mall. Good night, sweetie. Like, holy fucking shit, that's insane. That is insane. That is not whimsical merriment, okay? That's ho-ho-home invasion. We should be going the other way. We should be telling kids to deck the halls with barbed wire and rape whistles. Put out cookies and mace. I mean, everyone's worried about baby, it's cold outside. Maybe we should be worried about non-consenta clause coming down the chimney. And then at least we get a few months off before we start eating jelly beans to celebrate the resurrection of our reanimated God. Actually, that sounds fucking awesome. Hail Easter! Thank you! I'm Ryan.